Jeff Ranke with IEN and Finishing World here at the 2016 Surf & Show in Las Vegas. I'm joined by Zach Dismukes from KAlpha. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that KAlpha is doing, the products, the companies, and things that you're offering to the folks here at the show.
Sure. Well, KAlpha specializes in coating thickness measurement equipment. So we do sales and service for different instruments. We actually manufacture our own X-ray Fluorescence analyzer in Chicago. It's called the Bowman X-ray system.
Okay. Quality is such a huge part of any manufacturing and production process. You play such a big part in that. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've seen over time, how it's evolved, and that focus on quality controls, and with this new and exciting technology that's coming in, like X-ray technology?
Sure. No, absolutely. I mean, quality's key, and that's a big sort of focus for this show. And yeah, I think, over the years, people are starting to recognize that really the plating process is critical because it's really the surface of a part that gets the exposure. And so if you don't put on your plating properly, and if you don't monitor the alloy composition or the thickness, the different properties of that plating, then you could be destined for failure, sooner rather than later. So our equipment, helps in part of that process to ensure that their end customer, the end user, is getting something that's going to last.
What are some of the things you've experienced? There's a lot of news right now about the automotive recalls. There's some things going on with food as well. In working with companies on the quality side and helping to prevent that type of thing from happening, what are some of the things you've experienced in talking to people?
Well, unfortunately, you mentioned the word proactive. Unfortunately, people are oftentimes reactive. It takes a major catastrophe within a company or at a customer for people to sometimes realize that it is necessary to have the proper quality control tools in place. And definitely the automotive specifications are getting tighter and tighter and stricter and stricter. And so I think a lot of times, people don't really know how much goes into a small component in a large automotive structure. And it really is, it can come down to one little kink in the chain that breaks the whole thing. And so I wish more people were proactive, but I think again with the automotive industry just becoming more and more competitive and more stricter from safety requirements, I think that's trickling down to the suppliers, and they're listening. So
well, that's good to hear that they are being receptive to those messages. You mentioned automotive. I hear a lot of people talking about aerospace, in particular as growth segments for their products. Are you seeing any others that are taking off right now?
Well, yeah, definitely aerospace, especially out here, and on the West Coast is very big. I guess in general, the electronics are still kind of hanging around, and the electronics industry, I think, they're trying to keep as much as they can here in America, and but over in Asia, we do a lot of business over in Asia, and it's really booming. Everything's getting smaller, and everyone's wanting to control their plating, especially with the precious metals, at a very tight, just above the minimum requirement. And so, definitely the electronics industry has been a big area of growth for us.
Have you ever been tempted to take this X-ray equipment out outside of the factory and just have some fun with it? Looking at things maybe you shouldn't, checking stuff out?
It is fun sometimes to test that unknown chunk of metal that you really have no idea what it is, and jewelry and things like that. But we kind of have a rule. We can measure gold carat weight with our instrument, but I have a rule against testing women's jewelry because I tell people, I say, look, the best you can learn from this is what you already knew. And everything else is just going to be bad news. So I don't do that anymore.
Excellent advice. Zach, thanks so much for taking some time to sit down and talk with us. Jeff Ranke from the 2016 Surf & Show.